Christ needs to grow in you. To defeat the flesh, you feed the spirit. There's no way that equation can balance. Highways. The spirit must overcome the flesh. And my senior here, Bwana Boni, mwambia bro Boni amerudi. Boni, karibu sana.
Asante man Kariz, I'm sorry I'm late. The jam just decided to be the jam.
Yeka, unajua wanatengeneza barabara pale chini.
Yes. But here we are.
Yeah, and I even said we were going to introduce this conversation.
Introduce you to endele next week. Majali.
Na itakuwa tighter next week.
Yes.
We are talking about reclaiming masculine honor.
Yes.
When we talk about reclaiming, kuna kitu imepotea ndio tuna reclaim.
Yes.
What are we intending to achieve with this conversation? What do we want to reclaim?
Yeah. So in a nutshell, when you talk about honor, you're talking about majesty, you're talking about purpose, you're talking about dignity, you're talking about value. So in a nutshell, those are the things we'll be trying to reclaim, because ukiangalia the state of masculinity today, you actually realize a lot of us men are not doing very well. A lot of men are frustrated by life because it doesn't seem to be going the way they intended for it to go. Some men are angry because they feel like life has given them a raw deal. Some men are tired because it's been battle after battle after battle. Some men don't seem to have a sense of clarity. Where is the future going? How will my life come out of where it is to where it is supposed to be? So we are talking about reclaiming all that and repositioning ourselves as men so that life becomes a journey of value, not just survival. Because I think the worst thing that can happen to a man is to just go through life surviving. Finishing one day, you wait for the next, but there's nothing meaningful, purposeful, powerful coming out of your life. We want to reclaim that majesty so that we install the software that will make men to stop surviving and start thriving and enjoying their lives. So that men don't have to wait for a good job to enjoy life. They don't have to wait for, the day they'll get married to enjoy life, or the day the kids will grow up and leave home to enjoy life. That every day can be a meaningful, purposeful, value-filled day. That's what we want to focus on.
It is possible for a man to be
It is possible. And we're going to create a biblical roadmap because God's word is what actually guides us to that life. John 10:10 is a popular verse. It says that Jesus came that we may have life. Ukisoma amplified, inasema in abundance to the full until it overflows. So you're actually supposed to not be waiting for life to happen to you. You should be living with such purpose that life is waiting for you to happen. You're not waiting for life to happen. And that's what we want to challenge men to get to. Yes. So I'm excited about this. Maybe
somebody tell a man to tell a man.
To tell a man to tell another man.
I wanted us to, before ni kukaribisha officially.
Yes.
Karibu sana Boni.
Asante sana man Kariz.
It's been almost a year since.
It's been almost a year since I came to this studio. But always happy to be with you, to hang out, to have these conversations. Always a joy. Na naona nywele imekuwa kubwa zaidi. Na yangu kipara inaendelea kumetameta. Ni baraka.
Nilikwambia I'm representing you.
I'm telling you. Yes. When we grow up, you shall tell us the secret.
Alafu wewe ni represent.
I'm telling you. On this other side.
I'm coming there.
Unatu join soon, eh? Yes.
In a year or two.
Utakuwa hapo.
I'm where you are.
I'm
joining the bald movement.
Beard movement.
Beard, but if you're bald and you have beard, it's okay. But you cannot miss beards.
Ukikosa zote mbili, we need to investigate your life as a man.
To reclaim your masculinity.
Yes.
Boni, what has been lost with the boy child today? Masculinity.
Yeah.
I'm a man. And to tell you the truth, you know my story, grown up without a father.
Yes.
There are things I'm even learning about, what masculinity really entails.
Yes.
As an adult, and I look at my sons and I'm like, if they can get these things mapema.
Ali, yes.
And unakuta situation, situation kama yangu inaendelea
Yes.
ikiongezeka,
Yes.
where there are
Yes.
spaces where there is no masculine influence around.
Yes.
Unakuta yes we have men but kakitu kadogo tu hivi umetingizika kabisa. On the return now, we are finding even toxic masculinity now on the rise.
Absolutely.
People are paying to the thousands of thousands just to go sit to to in an environment where kabisa ukiangalia agenda you are like this is not what masculinity. That we have men who are not sympathetic. For me, sympathy. When we lose empathy, then we have men who have lost empathy. Kabisa. We don't care.
Kabisa. And the big problem is, and this is what I like telling men. I've been doing men's ministry the last 16 years now. And one of the things that I've discovered is that first of all, we've not differentiated between being a male and being a man. Being a male is like hardware, a computer. It is not the hardware that makes the computer to work. The hardware is just the beginning point. But the hardware has got to be installed with the right software so that now the computer can begin to work. And there are several things that we're going to be looking at that are becoming more rare in our society that have made the boy child to be in the place where they are. For example, a lot of the reasons why men get in trouble is because they don't find something called wisdom early. Because one of the softwares of manhood is wisdom. And wisdom is the ability to make the right judgments and right decisions in life that lead you to the fulfillment of your purpose, right? So a lot of us, number one, we lack that wisdom. And we don't have many models around us that model wisdom. Because like for me, where I grew up, being a man was equal to kupiga kitu inaitangwa, I'm trying to remember the Sheng name, Kindukulu, That was the definition of being a man, Yes, Kiskudu, In other spaces, it was, izo alcohol kali, That unakunywa mpaka unatoka machozi. Now, that was what was initiating men into manhood. And what you begin to realize about that is that men are given a raw deal of what being a man looks like. So there's a deficit, number one, of wisdom. A lot of men don't have the wisdom to navigate the decisions and the challenges of life. But the deeper issue is actually two things, which is what we're going to be trying to also reclaim the identity of a man, who really is a man. Because until we get that clear, we are going to continue experimenting with our lives as men and hitting unajua nika kugonga kichwa kwa ukuta. You're walking in the dark, unagonga kichwa kwa ukuta because you don't have the light that shows you who you are and who you're supposed to be. So the first question is going to be identity. The second question we're going to try to answer is purpose. What really is the purpose of a man? Because a lot of what has happened with the evolution of society, what we used to think is being a man is being challenged by life. I mean, for example, when we were growing up, we were being told being a man is being able to provide, earning more than your wife, for example, being able to go out there and hustle it out as a man. So what happens to you as a man when you lose your job? Do you stop being a man because of that? What happens when, we used to say that the man brings the bacon. What happens when now the woman does not only bring the bacon, but she owns the pig that is bringing the bacon? What happens there? So a lot of masculinity traditionally has been defined by roles, that a man is a man who can go out there and work, or a man is a guy who can go out there and get children. All those are roles of masculinity, but we want to get to the heart of what is the purpose of a man. What was the original intention that God had that has been lost, that has caused us as men to feel like we are not men anymore? Because when you don't have a big car, where's your bazoo? When you don't have that big corner office or a lot of money, you are being perceived to be less of a man. So we're going to be trying to go back to the mind of the Creator, because it is only the mind of the Creator that can give us the reason for what He created, to find out, sasile God alikuwa na create man, what did He have in mind? Before even the woman came, what did God have in mind? What did God intend for the man to accomplish? Because until we recover those things, life itaendelea kutuuliza maswali zenye hatuna answers. That's why depression is at an all-time high amongst men, because the first thing that feeds into depression is that a man has lost the sense of who he is. He doesn't feel like he matters. So we
Okay.
want to go back to that and find out what is the purpose of a man? What is the identity of the man? What is the value of a man? Yeah? Ni vitu gani hizo ukieka ndani yako zitakupatia ability ya kunavigate through life, not as a victim, but as a king, as a conqueror, as a man that is making the most out of every day and not just surviving through life. Yeah.
As a king.
As a king.
Just making a joke here
Yes.
a while back.
Yes.
Baba wa hapo kwetu
Uh-huh.
ali renovate
Yes.
kidogo tu.
Yeah.
Alafu akaandika ameweka tag hapa.
Yes,
I
yes.
shave
Yes.
only kings.
That's amazing. That's interesting.
And so nilikuwa nimeenda kupiga cut.
Yes.
Nagundua cut imetoka
Yes.
so mbili.
Yes.
Inachezea 250.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Namuuliza, "Wewe bro, kunaenda aje?"
Kunaendaje hapa?
Ananiambia,
Yeah.
nilikuwa nanyoa commoners. Saizi nanyoa kings.
Sasa ni kings. Yes.
So ameongeza do juu ya hiyo jina kings.
So lazima mfike bei. Yeah. And those are things that are happening in our society. Sometimes you're made to feel like being a king is affording a certain lifestyle. Yeah. But we forget that being a king is an identity issue. It's not a status issue. Yeah. Because kunaweza kuwa na hiyo ka pressure, yeah? That's when unapatanga, people are acquiring things. Some guys...
Pressure nayo ni real.
Pressure ni real. And we're also going to be talking about why that pressure is getting to us as men. Because I like telling men, and this is something that I want every man to remember, that masculinity without purpose equals to pressures without reason. When you don't know your purpose as a man, there are certain pressures you begin to open your life to that are not necessary. Because now you start playing to a script that is not yours. You start running a race that is not yours. But when you find out who you are, what your race as a man is supposed to be about, there are things you will not allow to bother you. There are things that you will not allow them to get into your head. Because the pressure comes from the things that we allow to get into our heads. And that's because we don't have a clarity about who are we as men, how does God want us to play the game of life as men. Yeah.
Clearly, somebody's saying already expectant hapa hivi.
There's a lot to talk about.
The society, Boni.
Yes.
Kuna magaldem, kuna boy child. I've also seen most of the pressure yenye nimepatana na wanaume. Inatoka hata kwa nyumba.
Kabisa.
Kabisa. You feel like sasa hapa ndio kieleweki hapa na hapa ndio kimewaka moto.
Kumewaka, kamenuka.
What is in this conversation for the ladies? Because these are, everybody is listening to this conversation. What would you want by the time tunakafunga?
Yes.
Ikue pia
ladies wanaweza take away. So I think one of the things that I want to help ladies to understand is, number one, to understand and appreciate the struggles of a man. Because if you don't understand my struggles, it will be very difficult for you to relate with me and to understand why I'm doing certain things. We're going to talk about things like, how do you deal with a man when he's silent? What does it mean when a man just goes quiet? What does it mean to handle a man when he feels like his world is caving in? How can you as a woman begin to support that man, whether he's your husband, whether he's your son, your brother, a child? Yeah. How do you even deal with a man who is in a place of addiction? There are skills that we are going to share that are going to also help women to learn what is going through the minds of men and how they can handle it better, so that instead of contributing to the problem of what we are calling toxic masculinity, we can become people that now are propelling healthy masculinity. Because if you remember, and I'm going to be using also the story of David a lot, because David is a picture of a man that struggled. He loved God, but struggled, made mistakes, had serious failures, had scandals, was a murderer. How is it that after all that this man did, God said that this is a man after my own heart? God never said that about any other man in the Old Testament other than David. So we're going to be finding out, how do we deal with men when they are going through those kinds of things, so that we again become enablers of men becoming healthy and not men sinking into the abyss of toxicity and depression. There's a lot to learn. Skills of how to talk to a man, the language of a man. We're going to be talking about all these things, and the ladies are going to get a lot of value from this conversation. And especially, I want to also, somewhere down the line, we'll address single mothers that are raising sons to understand what does this boy need to become a man? Because again, we must appreciate the reality that Nairobi kuna challenge, a lot of young men are growing without fathers. And so how can we now begin to bring a conversation around helping these young men so that they become healthy men despite the challenges that they're going through? So we're going to be talking to single mothers. How do you nurture? How do you encourage? How do you help activate that son to become the man God is calling you to become? And we'll see biblical examples of young men that were raised by single mothers like Timothy, and they became great men. So being a single mother of a son does not mean that that young man is sentenced to become a failure. There is something you can do to call out the king in him, because he is capable of becoming a king.
That part ya mwisho, it's very close to my heart.
Yes.
Njoo wambia wase hapa. Hata ukienda nyumbani ukute dada yako ako na watoto.
Yes.
And mujamaa haonekani. It's your responsibility to step up.
Absolutely.
And I've seen it work even in my family. As a boy child I'm raising, and I was like very he just did his KCSE, doing very well. The other day he wrote us he wrote a letter. Akatuachia kwa meza. Barua.
I'm telling
na
you.
Kizungu Google. You could see the appreciation.
Absolutely.
Just being there and offering that
the support, the encouragement.
My sister's girls in school, you cannot tell them they don't have a dad. They will give you my number.
Absolutely.
And I'm not saying that there are no men around, but you're like lazima waone.
Absolutely.
Lazima
they need that masculine input.
Yeah.
And another thing, before I forget, and this is probably going to be one of the most important parts of our conversation, we are also going to talk about how the church can help to deal with the fatherhood crisis we have in society. Because sometimes I think the church has not done very well in challenging the men that are in the church. That look, being a father is not just about the biological children that you have. There could be a young man in the church that just needs a fatherhood input, and fatherhood is not biological. How do we step in as the church and begin to solve and to speak to the fatherhood crisis that is there? Because if the church doesn't speak to the fatherhood crisis, then the church becomes the reason why dysfunctional men continue to exist in society.
Wow.
So there's a lot to talk about.
A while back, a group of young people, young men and ladies, walienda sherehe.
Yes.
And when they woke up in the morning, one of them was dead.
Oh.
And wakapelekwa kotini. The judge decided kasema wacha kwanza tuongee kama wazazi.
Kama wazazi.
Kila mtoto aongeleshe mzazi.
And
the boy child there said siwezi apologize huyu mzee. The judge asked, huyu ni baba, huyu ni mtoto wako, wewe ndio umelipa. The judge could not believe until the mother intervened. And the boy was like, nita apologize. Kwa sababu ya mother
ameongea.
You're like place kama hiyo you can say anything ujiokoe.
I'm telling you,
but this one
he's not willing.
He's ready. Nipelekeni ndani. Fanyeni vile mnataka. Lakini huyu mzee
I'm not apologizing. Wow. That is pain speaking.
Pain speaking. On the other side, that's a wound.
That's a wound.
And that's your son.
Absolutely.
And you paid school fees and all that.
Sacrificed.
And on the other side, he's also a young man looking at you and is like, you don't act like you don't know why I'm saying this. And that is the state of so many young men.
That is happening
and
in
also
many places.
And I hope by the time we are having this conversation,
we'll also have that.
We talked about that in a series we had. But I will love to connect this with also this whole conversation. Kwa sababu we need men for men.
We need men.
Right way.
Absolutely.
We need
men to stand
for
with
fathers
men.
And fathers for sons.
Absolutely. And it begins with a conversation.
Otherwise generation
inaweza potea.
Napotea.
But we can do something. And we will do something. And I believe this conversation, I hope, will begin to activate something out there so that we may not be able to sort every problem, but if we can move forward, then it will have been worth it.
Even just knowing who you are.
All these things.
What entails you being who you are. The capabilities of who you are as a man.
Absolutely.
I think these things can be sorted. You can take it from the inner you and just
begin to journey.
I'm happy we are starting the year with this conversation. Very
Tuanze na
important
wanaume.
conversation. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Hatuwezi sema we don't see what is happening.
Yes,
Tutakuwa tunaingiza kichwa kwa mchanga.
Kama ostrich. Na hiyo ileti shangwe.
CCC ostrich.
Yes.
CCC ostrich.
We can do something about
Thank you,
it.
Bonnie.
Thank you so much.
I'm looking forward for this conversation.
Asante sana.
And God bless you for coming.
Thank you so much, and sorry for being late.
It is okay. It is okay.
Asante man.